Good morning, folks. Baz here. So, this topic, this is something that I only told but a few people. It's a hard thing to talk about, but for the people that I had spoken to it about, they suggested I get my word out there. Be one of those voices. I don't know how many people this video is gonna reach. It looks like my videos so far I've only been getting maybe 1-2 views at most, so I'm not sure how many this one's gonna reach, but I think this is, well, according to other people I've told, this is a message that needs to be heard, or they think it needs to be heard. So this is my take on pro-choice, pro-life, and well, this is a situation that I was put in that I guess pushed me towards this stance. So for a while, I can't say that I was necessarily against abortion. I wasn't for it either. I wasn't one of those kids or one of those young adults that would be like, oh, if I knocked up a woman, I'm going to ask her to have an abortion. I was never that type of person. So even if I was pro-choice or was open to it upon a time, I would never have been something that I suggested to any of my exes. So my take on it comes from a personal situation. I was dating someone some years ago, and some people I should have gotten over it by now because it was that long ago. To me, it was an opportunity that was taken from me, and I didn't have a chance. So this girl, she was a smart young lady, and she probably still is for the most part. I met her back in high school, and I gotta say, it took me growing up and becoming an adult to understand why people acted a certain way as kids or whatever. For instance, when I went to high school, I wasn't really I wasn't intimidated to speak up for myself. I wasn't trying to get into a fight with everybody, but me and my best friend, we weren't easily picked on. Mostly because, I mean, we grew up in big families, and our families were pretty rough for us, and they toughened us up. But also, me and my best friend, we were big on hip hop and freestyle battles and all that. And since like 10 years old, 11 years old, me and my best friend, we had this game where he would say a joke or a crack on me, and I had like 3 seconds to respond. And if I didn't, I lost that round or whatever, and vice versa. If I said something to him, he had 3 seconds to respond to me. We never kept points or anything. We never kept score. It was just a thing we did. And after so many years of doing this, by the time we went to high school, we were really quick with the shit talk. So we were ready to throw hands. I'm not trying to glorify fighting, but we were ready to throw hands. But we were also really good at just talking shit, just taking someone's joke and throwing it against them. And so what we ended up doing, I will say, we kind of ended up bullying the bullies in a way. Like, not going out of our way to be assholes, but if we saw you messing with someone and we thought you was being stupid about it, we would pull up right beside you and call you stupid. And we were like some Jadakiss and Styles P on that shit. Like, I would stand on one side of the person, he would stand on the other side, and we would just bounce jokes back and forth between each other at that one person. And brother would be like a senior, and we would have been a freshman. Now, as an adult, that 4-year gap don't mean nothing, but when you're in high school, those 4-year gaps mean a big deal, right? So to have two freshmen just destroying, obliterating this high school football player with just plain old words and making them feel stupid, that was a win, right? But it never dawned on me as a teenager why some teenagers were not built that way. Why some just wouldn't stand up for themselves. It didn't matter. It just what it was, right? But there was this one girl, and I wasn't. It wasn't that I was interested in her at the time because I was dating someone at the time, but there's this one girl in school, and she was that type of girl who, she wasn't a bully, she wasn't a smartass, she wasn't bitchy to everyone. She was actually pretty kind. She was really kind and mostly quiet. And I guess she had her period one day, and one girl decided to make fun of her for it, which doesn't make any sense. Why a girl would make fun of another girl for having a period? I mean, y'all girls, y'all would all grow up and eventually have this at some point or another. I would hope, if all goes well, right? Anyways, so the girl making fun of her decided that she was going to squirt ketchup all over the girl's locker and then stuff ketchup packets inside the girl's locker. I just thought that was stupid, and I called the old girl out for it. Like, you're picking on this chick because you know that she's not going to stand up for you. And I pointed out another chick down the hall, this girl Stephanie. And Stephanie, she was a badass. Like, I'm not going to point out her last name, but she knows who she is, and she was a badass. And no one was trying to fuck with her because they knew that she'd have fucked them up. And I said to her, I was like, you weren't about to do that to her because you know she would take your head off, but you gonna do it to her because she's timid. She's not gonna defend herself. So you a punk. This doesn't make you look tough. It doesn't make you look cool. We ain't laughing about it. So what did you achieve here? You just to make her look stupid, just to bully someone who ain't gonna come back at you. You're a punk. That was really my only true interaction with old girl. until we were adults, right? Not talking about the girl who did the bullying, I'm talking about the one who was bullied. Um, Now, when next time I seen her, we were adults, and came across her on Facebook, and she blossomed and developed, and I reached out and we started talking. We were talking for a couple of months before we actually started dating, and then we were dating for a couple of months before we actually started doing anything, and it seemed like all was going well. I mean, between just her and I, we broke up, but it wasn't because I mistreated her or she mistreated me. It wasn't like there was anything slacking or something was missing. I'll get to it. She was part of a family that was very we were really messed up to her. They were very, very messed up to her. Um, and it took seeing that firsthand to realize why she was so timid. The people who raise you and they're supposed to be your family, you give your trust to them. When the people who you're mostly around just drag you down and break you down, before you're even ready to go out and face the real world, you're not going to have that courage and that strength to face the real world and defend yourself the way me and other people might have. And her family was exactly like that. Now, she gave me a heads up on that before meeting her family. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt because I come from a very big family. And for the most part, my family is very supportive of each other. They may not show me the exact same support that they show each other, but for the most part, they are supportive of each other. And so, me being family oriented, I want to give her family the benefit of the doubt, meet them anyways, and see what it was like. So the first day I met them, for the most part, they were decent towards me. They didn't seem shady towards me. They were mean towards her. They treated her like the Cinderella of the family. If y'all don't know who Cinderella is, she was that stepsister that got adopted by the stepmother when her father died, and now she's the slave of the house. And I say that because that's how she was treated. They owned the house, and she had to wash all their clothes, walk their dogs, cook their foods. This is two different apartments. She has to cook food in both apartments at both stoves, then wash the dishes in both kitchens at both stoves, take care of all their laundry, take care of and it's not like the people didn't have kids of their own. They had a son and a daughter. I think at the time the daughter was 18 and the son was 15. So they were old enough to do their own chores and wash their own clothes. I was washing my own clothes since 11, 12 years old. Mainly not trying to be funny. Me and my best friend realized that there was chicks at the laundromat. So 11, 12 years old, that's where we was going. We was washing our clothes and we were talking to girls. But nevertheless, we were able to wash our own clothes come 12 years old. Why this 15 and 18-year-old weren't doing that their own chores and their own laundry, can never know. But I used to call it Cinderella because they would treat her like a Cinderella. But I wasn't saying that to be mean or whatever. I was hoping to invigorate her and I guess give her that bit of fight that she was missing. And eventually, her family found out that I'm half black. I guess they just assumed by my appearance that I'm Spanish. I'm not Spanish, I'm not Puerto Rican, I'm not Dominican, I'm not Cuban or any type of Latino. I'm Italian and black. Well, I guess Italian makes me Latino, right? It's the original Latin. But I'm not Spanish. And when they found that I'm half black, well, they didn't like that. They were making, the grandmother would make a lot of comments in Spanish talking about how she's gonna have grandbabies that have monkey hair and shit. The aunt used to send old girl text messages of black dudes with HIV plus tattooed across their pelvises, as if to say because I'm half black that I had HIV and shit. It was really, really, really ugly. But me and her, we got along. We didn't argue. If she had a gripe with me, I don't know about it because she never expressed anything to me, and it wasn't like I discouraged her from speaking her mind. I was always open to hearing whatever she had to say. But what happened was, now this is where it gets weird because the last time I seen her, I had given her like $200, and that was that. But what was expressed to me that day, the reason why I gave her $200 was apparently she had overdrafted on her bank account. Now, when I heard that, I just assumed it was like, $35, $40 because I didn't assume that she had overdrafted by that much. Anyone who's ever overdrafted on a bank account knows that you'll overdraft by like 5 cents and the bank's gonna hit you for $35. So you could have got something that was worth $5, but now that $5 item is now worth 40, right? So I didn't think it was, excuse me, that big of an overdraft. I just gave her the benefit of the doubt, assumed that it was just a hit, and so I gave her 200, a couple just to pay off the overdraft, and the rest to get her to and from work for the week, and food and whatnot. And that was the last time I actually seen her, was in her presence. That following weekend was Memorial Day weekend, and I was planning on bringing her with me to Brooklyn to meet my family, my black family. She done met my mother, who's white, and my nephew and whatnot, but she hasn't. But that's why my family is kind of smaller, whereas my father's side, my black side of the family is big. And they're very communal. They're constantly always together, to the point where my cousins are more like my brothers and sisters versus being cousins. That's how well we get along with each other. Like, I have one cousin who, she looks like my twin, I swear to God, and her friends will get mad at her because she doesn't like to go clubbing. She ain't trying to go out to bars and all that, and they'll be like, why you don't go nowhere? And she'll be like, I'm at home drinking wine with my cousins. All right, but come out, come drink with us. Nah, I don't want to go out and go drink. I want to sit at home with my cousins and have fun with them. I'm just fine. Like, that's the type of family bond we have, and I want my girl at the time to experience that, right? To see, not for nothing, not every family is like this. Not every family is gonna run you in the dirt. My family is super welcoming. Like, the first time you're there, you're the guest. The second time you're there, you're no longer the guest. You could go into the fridge and get your own food and drink, whatever. By the third time you're there, you family. That's it. Like, we could break up and you could still go back there and hang out with my cousins, and I can't say shit about it. Like, that's how welcoming my family is. I wanted her to experience that. Her family did not like that. When her family heard that she was about to go meet some black people, that they said, oh, hell no. So her aunt calls me up the day before. She starts telling me that old girl overdrafted her bank account. I said, it doesn't sound like that's my business. It sounds like that's her business. She goes, yeah, but she had this letter in the mail, and she didn't want to open the mail. She got it from the bank, and so I had to open it for her. And I said, it sounds like you just committed a crime. What that bank statement said is none of my business. It doesn't sound like it's your business. It sounds like it's her business. I try to reiterate it for her, right? She goes, no, but she's ignoring the bank, and I had to open it, and I found out that she overdrafted by $700 and change. I'm thinking, well, shit. I did give her $200 to help with the overdraft, but I didn't think it was that much. Initially, I thought, does this woman think that because I gave her $200, that I'm just gonna spit out another $700 for her? That I'm just gonna keep dishing out money for her overdrafts? Absolutely not. But eventually, she started complaining. Oh, and she rinses out her panties and leaves them hanging in the shower. She's so gross. I'm thinking, I have cousins and aunts that do the same thing. They don't want to wash their stuff in public. I'm pretty sure there's other women who do that too. I'm not judging. Oh, and she doesn't make her bed before she goes to work. This girl's a slob. And my mother doesn't always make her bed before she goes to work either. Sometimes she's in a hurry. Does that make my mother slob? I wasn't comprehending what she was trying to. And it's usually what people aren't saying to you that's what matters. It's not what they're saying, but what they're not saying to you, right? So I eventually says, like, why are you being so mean to her? Like, this girl is a good girl. She has 2 jobs. She doesn't have any drug addictions. She doesn't have any issues. She doesn't have any baby daddies up the ass. Like, I'm not a disrespectful person, so it's not like she's with this rude guy who's just running her into the ground or whatever. And then apparently because I asked her that, I was being disrespectful, I was being rude. I was no longer allowed to see her, and that was that. And the aunt told me that, and she had her niece say the same thing. It was a me or them situation. If she chose me, she was gonna get kicked out of the house and come. And she would have been asked out. Me, I was fine where I was staying. She'd have been just fine where we were. But nevertheless, that happened, and I had no say in the matter. She just gone. And they threatened me with a restraining order and everything. Now that's where it kind of got silly, because it wasn't like I was stalking her. I wasn't like going out my way to go to her job. She lived counties away from where I was living, and so just to do that, I'm gonna travel by bus counties away just to walk past your job and hope to see you. Like that, I'm not that person. So I was saying whatever to that. I was actually welcoming that restraining order because I was hoping that we could then go before a judge and I could express to this judge. This woman opened up her mail just to see what her bank statement was saying. This woman's been slapping this girl around just for speaking her mind, and because this woman wants to call me all types of racist things. She done slapped her. So I was ready for a court date, whatever. But that never happened. Then months later now, I guess in this, I can't be so upset because I'm gonna be honest, at the time, I did not know that she was pregnant. Had I known, I still would have been excited, I still would have been happy, but I didn't know at the time. But it was only afterwards when her uncle had called me. So her uncle called me so we broke up in May, and her uncle hit me up in the following August. So that was like months away. And this one uncle, this is like the one gentleman from her family that I was getting along with, because I guess he was from the other side of her family. And he would express just the same, that they are wicked to her. They treat her like a Cinderella. They run her in the dirt. They're horrible. I wasn't the only friend that seen it. Like the other kids that we went to high school with, her best friend had seen it as well. Everyone, they all seen it. So it wasn't like I was making it up. And the uncle, me and him got along, and he would say, it seems like she's, I guess, coming out of her shell a little bit. She's brightening up. She seems very happy when she's with you. So that made me feel good, right? If I'm making this girl feel good, and not trying to be perverted, but if I'm exalting her, and lifting her up, then I must be a good person, right? I must be good for her. Okay, cool. Well, he hits me up months later and starts yelling at me, stop messing with her, stop calling her, stop texting her, leave her alone, she done broke up with you months ago. And this to me was out of left field, because I done left her alone, like I said, for months ago. I'm not gonna keep her if you done told me that you were breaking up with me and you don't want to hear from me no more, all right, that's it. You're not gonna have me constantly knocking on your door to figure. That's it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna be the sucker. I'm not gonna put myself in trouble just to get your attention. I'm not. Never been that person. Not gonna start being that person. So months later, when I get this text message, it's like, bro, I've been leaving her alone. Like I haven't been bothering her. I don't know why they're saying this to you, or maybe it's late or whatever. I don't know what the problem is, because this is months later. I don't know if maybe they just want to see you react or what's going on. And so he said, all right, well, this was on Facebook. He sends me this message. All right, just, you know what, give me a call and talk to me. I want to actually discuss things with you. So I give him a call, and we get on the phone, and the same, I guess, rundown I gave y'all, the viewers, about what led to the breakup is the same thing I explained to him, because he wants to know exactly what went down from my side. So I expressed it to him. I told him what happened, and he goes, so I guess she got that abortion then. And it was at that moment, I guess, I realized, she was pregnant, because I didn't know. I honestly didn't know that she was pregnant at the time before the breakup. But when he said it, it was like, abortion. She goes, yeah, she was pregnant, and that's when it clicked. Was that where the 700 went? Did she overdraft on the abortion? Is that what happened? So that means she probably aborted it way back in May when that bill hit. Either way, it's devastating. Now, again, to some people, it's a matter of get over it. It's old. You have there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's more opportunities, but I had invested time into this young woman. I had loved her upon time, and I'm not every other guy. To me, there's a trust involved. When you give that woman that part of yourself, you're trusting her with that part of yourself. And that's one thing that, I guess, because there's women who were run down by wicked men. They're not used to that type of perspective. That there's some men who we hold trust with that. You know what I'm saying? So when we give that part of ourselves to you, we're giving you a piece of our soul. And to us, it's like when you aborted that child, you destroyed that part of our soul. That child will be around, I would say, going on 9, 10. You understand? They will be 9 or 10 years old at this point. It's get over it. That's 9, 10 years ago. To me, it's like that would have been a 9 or 10-year-old. So that's my take on that's I guess what spurred me to realize, I'm not with the abortion. I do not want to be with a woman who is about abortions. That's not where I'm at. If I would one day like to be a father, and I can't align myself with a woman who could think that it's okay to just offer your child. Like that's disgusting. It's gross. And in their situation, I guess there's a bittersweetness to it. I don't know if I could call it bittersweet, because when I consider that how abusive her family was to her, do I sit back and consider, well, maybe it's for the better, because he or she would have grown up in a racist household and it would have been mistreated just like she was mistreated. Probably more so because that child has black in them. I don't know, but I can't use that, I guess, to that's not my catharsis to it. It's not gonna bring me catharsis. It doesn't, I guess, mend that wound. It doesn't make it any less sting. It's not an excuse. You know, my parents would like to be grandparents. My mother had no problem with the young woman. She even said so that if they had kicked her out, she would have opened up her doors to the girl just fine. It would have been no big deal because they got along just fine. Shit, I remember when my mother put together her little coffee station. The first thing that came to my mind was old girl, because I was like, she's a coffee nut. If she sees my mother's coffee station here, she's gonna freak out. She's gonna love this thing, and she did. They geeked out. They geeked out over fucking coffee. They got along. We weren't wicked people. But ultimately, yeah, that's where my whole pro-life thing ended up stemming from, is my own past experiences. And the way I see it is, if I'm one person, one man who's experienced this, there's probably other people. I don't. I would like to say I'm one in a million for some things, but chances are there's a collective consciousness. Other people who experience the same things I experience. Um, they just haven't spoken about it. Maybe they don't have the voice to speak about it. Maybe they don't know how to articulate it. Maybe they don't want to talk about it. Maybe they're just trying to get over it. And maybe that's what I should have been doing this whole time, is getting over it. And for the most part, I did. I don't reach out to her. I haven't said anything to her. Just left it alone, right? But it still does have that bit of sting when I think about it. Every year go by, I'm like, damn, that child would have been this year old. Damn, that child would have been this year old. Damn, that's you know, it doesn't it doesn't it doesn't leave your mind. It doesn't go. It doesn't. You'll never stop hearing that baby crying in the back of your head. That's where I'm at. All right, yo.